This conference will now be recorded.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. this evening. We have everybody on the committee as us tonight, no regrets. And first item of business is if I could have someone make a motion to review and adopt this evening's agenda, being February 28th. Anyone? Thank you, Cosette.
Yep.
A second. Gloria, all in favor? Yes.
Yep.
Carried. All right. Second item is the approval of the minutes from our January meeting. Again, have someone make a motion to approve those unless anyone has any changes. No, no changes. Okay. Sharon and Gloria, all in favor? Yes. Carried.
Yep.
Any disclosure of pecuniary interest this evening? Nope. Very good. And the first item of business is the treasurer's report. Barbara, if you could maybe tell us where we're at with the finances. Oh, your mic's off.
I had an email from Les and we are good to go for the amount that we asked for. Also, he sent me an email about a half an hour ago saying that he'd neglected to send us our honorariums. So after the close of business, I'd like to discuss the number of meetings just to confirm I've got it right. And that's it for me. So we're happy with the money.
Yes, that's great news. Fantastic. Good. And just to remind everybody that that has not changed for a number of years and seems to be the appropriate amount. It's really hard to know because we never know if we're going to do a designation in the year, and that basically eats up our whole budget. So if we don't do a designation, then we have all kinds of slush funds, and if we do, it gets eaten. So really hard to know, really hard to budget for this particular committee. Okay, we do have a guest here this evening, Stephen Fisher. And I understand, Stephen, you have some questions about properties on the registry and how the register works. And we will open it up to you and hopefully we can answer your questions.
Okay, well, thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for having me on this evening. I appreciate it. My name is Stephen Fisher. I live at number 8 Buena Vista Drive in Mono on the hill. And to end of January, I received a letter from the advisory committee indicating that there was some level of interest in my property as a property of interest, and the committee had deemed that had indicated that there were about 9 plus criteria, any one of which or a few were of interest or I had met the criteria at this point to be a property of interest. And the letter gave me an impression that even though it had claimed that or said that there was 9 criteria, and I've been on the website, so I kind of starting to understand what we're looking for. My real question or interest is to know, are there specific criteria that the committee has in their minds on this property, or is it just a general general letter, and we don't know what the specific criteria for my property is at this point, because the letter had indicated that there was one or more criteria that the committee had labeled against my property. So that's really the first question in, I guess, the process is to try and understand which one or two or how many of that criteria is of interest with respect to the property that I live in.
Okay, very good questions, and I can certainly try and explain the answers. I was busy trying to street view your house as you were talking to remind myself which one it was, and
Okay. Well, just so
unfortunately,
maybe I should just maybe I should just outline for everyone. It is an old Victorian home. It was built roughly 1892-ish. Not a lot of information available because it wasn't built with a mortgage, so the original builder of on the farm didn't take a mortgage, so I couldn't. There's not a lot of information we have in for example, the archives, Dufferin archives. But the house is, a genuine Victorian home, even though you might not recognize it from the front as a traditional Ontario Victorian home. So, that's basically the summary of the house. So I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that so everybody knew what we were talking about. Kirsten, thank you.
yeah, that's okay. I'm looking on Google Earth, but there is a big tree in the way. But nevertheless, I
Yes,
do know which house this is, and it is absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous home, I must say.
thank you.
Lots of appeal and obviously very well cared for, and has a very like a very commanding position on the street, as I recall.
Well, it's a
Um,
two-story home in among many one-story homes on our side.
yes, yes. Beautiful old two-story amongst some smaller, newer bungalows. So it's really quite remarkable on the street. So I think maybe the first thing I should say is that the your house probably does have the potential to meet some of these criteria, not all of them, but definitely some of them it does meet. However, the thing about the registry is that it's actually, the key word is the potential to meet the criteria. The whole purpose of the registry is to, it's sort of like a catch-all to catch any old homes that might possibly be demolished. And of course, as a committee of volunteers, we don't have the time or the manpower or the effort to go and investigate the history of every single old house in Mono. Some of them may have interesting histories, meaningful histories. Some of them may be architecturally significant, and some of them may be of no note at all. But the whole point is we don't have time to investigate every one to make that determination. So we sort of use this as a catch-all for every home. And it allows us to have the opportunity to do a future investigation to determine if any of the criteria are met. So it's really, being on the register is just about being identified as a house that has the potential to meet the criteria, not that you actually currently do meet the criteria. That is an assessment that we would make as a result
Okay.
of you being on the registry. And the only time that would actually kick in, that we would make that assessment, is if we were advised that you were going to demolish the house outright to the ground, the entire house. Doesn't stop you from knocking down a wall and putting on an addition or making modifications. Nothing. We have absolutely no influence or control over the property in the house at all. The only time that would come into play is if the building department notified us that the house was going to be torn down. And then the register, being on the register, would allow us the leeway of contacting you and getting into a dialogue about maybe coming to visit the house, or if you didn't want us to visit the house, then we could do an archival search at the museum to find out if there's anything notable about the house. And I guess the best outcome would be that maybe we can convince you not to demolish the house, that it does in fact have some value. Failing that, then we would request to come in and photograph the house for record purposes before it's demolished. So really, it's just the registry is just a mechanism for us for the Heritage Committee to be flagged if a house is slated for demolition. So we have time to investigate whether it is worthy of saving or worthy of just making a record of,
Okay.
you know, for posterity.
Yeah. So basically, it sits on the registry, or that the building, the interested building registry till a time somebody triggers something to elevate it for interest to the Heritage Committee.
The only thing that would trigger it is a demolition application.
Okay.
That's the only
Well,
thing. Other than that,
can-
we
yeah.
wouldn't have any, you know, it wouldn't come onto our radar at all unless there was a demolition application.
Well, it's been my family home, our family home, for 37 years. So
Really?
I can tell you it's not likely to be put on a demolition request by myself.
Well,
But
that's
the only other question, and then I can leave you guys to get on with the business, and I appreciate your patience, is it something, is it something that has to be declared at a time when if and when we decide to sell down the road? Is it something that would be a legally binding requirement to disclose that?
no, you are not legally required to tell the buyer that it's on the register.
Okay, that's interesting to know. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you could do it out of, you know, courtesy if you wanted,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you're
no, I
not
understand.
legally-
Yes, I agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I do appreciate having some airtime here, and I appreciate your responses to me, and I'll just kind of, at least I'm a little bit more comfortable with, I think, being on a list. I've seen the list, it's pretty extensive.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that possibly you don't have the manpower or the person power to go through every home at this point. So I appreciate that. So, okay, I will, unless you have any questions for me, then I will let you guys go. I will sign off and let you carry on.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming, Stephen, and asking those questions. And by all means, if you have any further questions, you can call me or anyone on the committee or email us anytime.
Yeah.
I believe my phone number was on the letter, and really happy to talk to you about anything specific to your property, if you think of anything in the future.
Okay, I appreciate that.
So thank you.
Okay, yeah, so I probably will come on sometime, because it is. I applaud the group for the work you do. It's important. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kirsten, it
Okay,
sounds
have a
like an
good evening.
opportunity to encourage someone to apply for the committee. You are looking for members, aren't you?
I figured.
Well, I must say,
when I opened my mouth, I said, "Uh-oh." I thought someone might jump on that.
you know what, Stephen, when I saw there was a guest on this evening, I thought, oh, maybe this is someone who wants to join the.
Yeah, you obviously don't get many guests, so I better go before I say too much.
Well, if you want to, if it ever perks your interest, give me a call.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay. On to the next item. The big item of the evening is the letters that we've received. Some are emails, some are letters. A lot of them are similar to what our guest was just asking about, just general inquiries, wanting to understand what it is and so on. We have had a lot of inquiries. Most of them we've been able to speak to and give explanations to. And I believe there are about, that I'm aware of, we have 10 official letters of objection that we need to get through and decide what to do with. Some of them, I've looked at a lot of them. Some of them are very straightforward. A number of them probably we can't make a decision this evening because we need to do a little bit more investigation and figure out which houses they are and whether they are whether they're worthy of further investigation. And I just don't think we've had the time to do that yet. But I can certainly go through the list and, sorry, I've just got to open the list here.
Kirsten, what is the
Yes.
timeline for a response? I know
I
I
think
I've
it's
seen it, but I can't remember.
yes, it's 90 days. And
Would it-
most of these objection letters came in late, like in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, so
So we've got about
we could
3 months.
investigate before the next meeting for sure.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of when I was thinking about how to handle this tonight, to make sure that in fact we do have time to revisit some of these at the next meeting and still get an answer to council before the 90-day period comes up. And I believe that we do have that time. If we feel that we're running close to the line on timing, we could certainly do it. We can certainly send in our thoughts to council in between meetings, if it came to that. But I think we do have enough time. We've got a 90-day window, so that would put us where at that. So let's say, even worst case scenario, that would put us at the February, March, end of April to respond.
Mhm.
So I think we're okay. But let me go through the list, and I can tell you the ones that I know for sure can be easily dealt with, and everyone can chime in on their thoughts or their familiarity with these properties. The first one we have is 246321 Hockley Road. This is a house, red brick house, just on our side of Hockley Road, just east of MAPS, Mono Amaranth Public School.
Oh, the little cute one.
Yes, the little cute red house there. I don't know if any of you can picture it. And certainly if
Vernacular.
you're, yes, if you're inclined, you can certainly go on Google Maps and look up these addresses as we go through them. So this particular one, I haven't done anything. Does anyone have any immediate reaction to that house? I did do a drive by it, and I must say it's not particularly notable. It went on the list because of its age, but architecturally, has nothing of note. And I certainly don't know anything about the ownership history on it. Does anybody else have anything to share on that house? Yes, Sharon.
I think this house was thought to go on the list the last time we went through this, and for some reason it wasn't added. So I'm wondering if what you just said is the reason it wasn't added to the list earlier when this was
Yes,
being done action.
Right. I don't know of any reason that it didn't get on the previous list. And I know there were some hangovers from the previous list that have been on the list for a while, but didn't actually make it into the bylaw because there were still some bits of information outstanding. So they didn't make the first round, but those bits of information were collected and then they made it onto the next round. So I guess maybe that was one of these properties. Maybe we were missing some info on it.
Okay.
I have no recollection of why it wasn't included on the previous one and got bumped to this one. But yes, Cassette.
Has it been re-bricked? Would it have originally been a frame?
I think you might be right. It does look that way, doesn't it?
Because the brick is very, very perfect.
Yes.
The house doesn't present wonderfully, but that's also the way it's sort of set. But the brick looks so good.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I had the same impression of it. So does anyone else have any comment on that house? No, okay. So let's just defer that one. I think it needs a little bit more investigation, but on initial blush, it doesn't seem particularly notable. Okay, the next letter of objection we received was for 593525 Blind Line. This is a two-story red brick Italianate house on the east side of Blind Line, just south of Tenside Road, sort of between Hockley, County Road 16 and Tenside Road. It is a very attractive, well-kept Italianate house with a lovely driveway, a driveway lined with old maple trees. Again, I know that these particular owners feel very strongly about not being on the register. However, that is not a reason to come off the register, but it is noted. Again, I think this is a house that maybe needs to be deferred until the next meeting, unless anyone has any comment on it or feels otherwise. No comment? Okay.
So defer to investigate further.
Yeah, I think we need a bit more time to look into that and revisit it at the next meeting. It's just that, there's a lot has come in, and I feel like a number of them were relatively simple to deal with, and so they got reviewed quickly and easily. But these others maybe need a bit more attention, and we've got to look into them a bit further.
Okay.
The next one is 347036 Mono Center Road, which is a four-square, sort of a buff brick four-square house, probably built around the 1890s. This is at the Avalon Lavender Farm, right across from Smokey's Garage. I don't know if any of you have been into the Lavender Farm, but it's a beautiful property and a beautiful house. The inside of the house has been largely renovated. There's not a lot of original elements left on the inside of the house. However, the exterior of the house is original, and it's very handsome. The owner there told me that he's interested in having his barn on the register, but not crazy about having the house on the register, just because so little of the original work remains inside. And the barn he has restored, and there's a date stone on it, dated 1891, and it's sort of been hand chiseled in. It's quite lovely, actually, the date stone.
Nice.
So I'm comfortable with removing that house from the list and keeping the barn on the list. Does anyone else have any particular feelings or knowledge of that house?
And I presume
I don't have any knowledge, and I trust what you're saying. I respect your opinion, Kirsten. Yeah.
Thank you.
Obviously, you have more experience, more knowledge about this one.
Well, maybe, but I don't know. It's still a matter of, you have to see the house, if you haven't seen it, it's hard to know. And that one's hard to see from the road. You can't see it from the road. Yes,
I didn't even know that existed. Would he possibly could you possibly convince him to do it if he's willing to do the barn? And does he fully understand the implications of being on the register as not being a detriment to him adding on? Yes. Or whatever?
Yeah. Let me revisit that with him a bit. I'll let him know that that we're pleased that to keep the barn on. Yes, Barbara.
He's a lawyer. He's a downtown Toronto lawyer. I agree with you on the barn. the house, is, don't see separating them. But again, I think with Cosette's suggestion that you have a chat with them. But again, remember that he is a litigation lawyer.
Yeah.
I'd like
But our Kirsten's smart.
All right. Well, I'll talk to him some more about it, and we'll see where that goes. Sharon, did you have something to say on that?
It's not my favorite house, inside or outside. The barn is fabulous. That's all.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it seems to me the house is even the outside of the house has just been thrown together. Like there's a porch there, but I'm sure none of that stuff existed. It's just kind of made up.
Yeah. There have been some. You're right. There's some porches that have been added onto it, which do not really contribute to the heritage. They look. They don't enhance the house. The porches.
Right. Yeah.
They were sort of a poor attempt at additions that didn't do anything for the house. I mean, imagine if all the porches were ripped off and the house was just, its original,
Yeah.
then it would be, it's lovely on its own. Oh. Okay. The next one is 794551, the third line. This is the house across from Krillman's property. It's a yellow board and batten on the third line, immediately south of Mono Center Road, just off the bend on the side. And it can come off because it actually was built in the 70s. So I'm not even sure why it was on the list. Maybe someone knows why it was on the list, but the owner did inform me that it was built in the 70s. And when it was brought to my attention that it was on the list, I think she is correct that it's not. I think it was a mistake, unless there's something that somebody knows that I don't know about it. Anyone?
Did I put that on?
Yeah, I think it might have been you, Barbara.
I might have got a number wrong, so I'll go and check it, but I can't remember why I put it. Oh, well.
Okay, no worries. Anyway, that was just a plain old mistake, so we'll take her off, no problem. The next one we have is 247444 Fifth Road. And this is the house across, this is on the south side of Five Side Road, on the southeast corner of, I think it's Third Line and Five Side Road, across from Allen's Ponds, which are the two big ponds on the north side. Yes. So if you go past Hockley Resort, if you're going south on Third Line, past Resort, and you get to the Five Side Road, it's a bit east of there. I think I have my intersection right on that one. And it is a red brick 4-square. Again, not particularly notable other than it's not striking in any way. It's just a pretty regular old red brick 4-square house. So again, from an architectural standpoint, I'm not sure that it's, anything to be saved particularly. However, it might need a bit of a investigation into the, the deed history on it, just to be sure. So that's another one I'd like to defer to next meeting unless anybody else knows anything about it or has any comments.
I do.
Nothing? Okay.
Not me.
Okay. The next one is 674565 Huron, Ontario. This is at the southeast corner of Huron, Ontario and 20th Side Road. And I believe, I don't have the file in front of me, I think it's a stone house. And again, unless anyone has anything to say about this property. I have done absolutely zero investigation into it, just because I haven't had time. And I think we should defer it to the next meeting, to just
Okay.
so we have a bit of time to investigate and have something to discuss at the next meeting.
Okay. Yep.
No other comments on that one? Okay.
Okay.
The next one is 874422 Fifth Line. This is a beautiful log house. However, I had a feeling it might be reproduction, and the client, sorry, not the client, the owner confirmed that it is reproduction. So it can come off the list. Yeah.
Okay.
There was actually an old house on that property that got demolished, unfortunately, and now they've built a very beautiful and striking modern home in its place. But the log house does remain, however, it's reproduction.
Airport Road. Was that the Airport Road one? Sorry, just checking.
Fifth
No,
line.
that's the one, that is on Five Side Road, it's on the west side of Five Side Road, south of Mono Center Road, just before Five Side Road turns into a, an unassumed,
Okay,
just south of, not Wits End. I want to say Wits End, the eventing place there.
oh, okay.
All right, the next one we have is 87453 Fifth Line. This is a beautiful old Victorian with lots of heritage character. Again, I think we need to talk to the owner, and defer this one to the next meeting. Again, I have not had time to do anything about it. So unless anyone wants to add to that one.
Defer.
No? Okay.
No.
All these ones that we're deferring, we will do some investigation over the next month and make a decision at the next meeting. The second last one is 934046 Airport Road. This is the farmhouse on the northwest corner of Airport Road and Hockley Road. You go over the bridge, if you're traveling north, you go over the bridge, over the Nottawasaga Bridge, and then it's the next property on the west side. It's got a bank barn, and it used to have a white fence going up the driveway, which they've removed. But a nice setting. I don't know much about the house. You can't really see it very well from the road, in terms of being able to make enough of a determination about it one way or the other. Again, I think this one we need a bit more time to do a proper investigation. Does anyone have any comment on that house?
I don't know. No comment.
Okay. And the last one is 673. Oh, just a minute. I'm looking on my spreadsheet, but I've missed a number. Just a second, I'll give you the proper address. 673448 here, Ontario. And this one just came in a couple days ago. I haven't even had a chance to look on Google Earth to see what house it is. So I think that leaves us with maybe 5 or 6 of them that need to be looked into a little more carefully over the next month. And whatever we discover, we can bring forward at the next meeting and make a decision. None of them, I don't think any of them particularly, important or notable. But
Let's see.
Yeah,
3, 4, 5.
Was
because
there one that Fred sent out today?
9, 3, 4, 4.
oh, I'm sorry, I haven't seen that one yet. Do you know which one it is? Can you explain it?
No. I just got it this afternoon. Maybe he can. Maybe Fred can.
We're up to 13 now. So, and that is what, just from yesterday when Barbara, you sent out the list, didn't you, early this morning? So yeah, you are up to 13 properties. But like you say, you haven't had a chance to take a look at them. I don't think it makes that much difference. I've got the number, 2 of them are on the list Barbara sent out.
This one was
Okay, I wasn't up to speed on that.
437 second line EHS.
Sharon?
Is that, I'm not even going to attempt his name, sorry.
Oh
I'll
no,
just
this is still
93492. Sorry, that's beyond my abilities.
the Polish name or the Ukrainian name.
Everybody knows, you know who I'm talking about. And it's 934492, and he's been pretty insistent that he get some action on this. He doesn't, and even though I have spoken to him, and I think Fred has spoken to him as well. That
Sorry, Sharon?
yes?
Sharon, which is this one? Which one is this?
Airport Road, 934492, Airport Road.
934493. Hold on, just looking. Okay. Oh, yes. So this is up on the hill.
Okay, yeah. I think
Right. This is the one. This is the property that the tornado went through.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah. I think I know where it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. And I'm sorry. What were you saying about it? He wants an answer
Well,
quickly.
he's being very insistent that
Yeah.
he doesn't like the vague terms in the, well, much as Stephen said, it didn't. How do I know what you're looking for?
Right. And as I was trying to explain to Stephen, is they don't know what we're looking for because we don't know what we're looking for, because the critical term is potential.
Yeah.
So we don't know if these houses meet the criteria, but they're on the list because they have the potential, and the list allows us time to investigate that potential. We may determine that they don't meet any of the criteria, but at least they're flagged on the list for an assessment.
He was invited to this meeting by myself and by Fred. So
Okay.
had that opportunity if he wanted to voice his questions here, which might have been very valuable for him. I talked to him Friday night at about 5 o'clock, and he still got in touch with Fred today as well. So
Okay.
I'm just that kind of makes me nervous when somebody's getting that involved in it. When I read the letter, I don't read any threat here at all, and yet what I hear is people feel threatened somehow, and that we're going to do something to them. And anyway,
I've been finding so many. I've spoken to so many people about it. I mean, over and above the ones that have actually sent in letters.
Yep.
But all kinds of people who have just called to say, what does this mean?
exactly.
And as soon as you explain it to them,
They're fine.
and that most people are totally fine with it.
Yeah.
I think the arrival of the letters coincided very closely with the whole freedom
Oh, maybe.
trucker movement.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
when I
Okay.
was looking at them and I was thinking they've just been influenced by that. We're infringing on their freedom.
Right.
Maybe.
Oh, that's an interesting,
Okay. Well, that's timing.
interesting.
Timing is all.
Yeah, timing's everything. Okay.
Anyway, this one was from Still, Dwayne and Shelley Still, 753437, second line. And they sent a letter to Fred, and he sent it out today.
Okay. All right. I've got to get up to speed on today's activity then. I didn't know about that. All right. I don't know which house is theirs, but I know there was a Still property that got demolished a couple of years ago, which was too bad. But anyway, probably adjacent to that one, I would think.
They said they were an old farming family, maybe?
Yeah. Well, the Still family is one of the original settlers in Mono, so they've got long roots in town.
Now, I just have a question because I got a letter, and I also look after my neighbor's affairs while she's in Australia, and she got a letter. She doesn't even have a
Okay.
house because they tore it down. They built a new barn, and my house was built in 1990.
Was that cassette?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we should have flagged it before it went on the list, before we approved the list.
I didn't
Okay, well,
see
let's
it. I just got the letter
do you mind sending me an email
to take it
just
off.
reminding so that it reminds me to make sure that it comes off?
And I think Mandy's should also come off. I mean, she's got it's a beautiful barn, but it's been built since I've lived here, so within the last 20 years.
But that's the stone barn that they've used the original foundation, right?
They used one wall of the original foundation, which was rebuilt, and then they've put metal posts and built an apartment above it. So there's just one little wall left on the
That's
drive
original.
shed, but not on the old barn was there. It fell down since we moved here.
And is it completely gone now?
There's one small wall which has been squared off and reparged, I think. Brian Wood did it.
Yeah. Okay. And there's nothing else on that property that's built?
I mean, it's a beautiful property, but nothing remarkable.
Okay.
She
Okay.
won't
Do you
care, but
mind can you just drop me a quick reminder
I will
email
absolutely, Kirsten.
with your green number and Mandy's green number on it?
Yeah,
And
I will do that.
we'll tend to those. Yeah, sure.
Did we
Yikes.
go with Dave Mole, Dave and Sally's place? The house is quite new, beautiful
Yes, I
house.
think Dave and Sally's, the only building on there is their little stone milk house.
Yeah,
And I believe that Dave is okay with it staying on the register.
that's what I thought too. So we don't have
So
to think
that's
about
nice because
that anymore.
it's such a pretty little structure.
It is, yeah, it is. And you can find
Yes.
a picture of it in the hills.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, so that's
I think that's it for that item. Shall
Actually,
we carry on
Kurt,
does anyone want to say anything more?
can I interrupt just for 1 second? Because I just wanted to say, I also put an objection into my house being put on the registry. I'm on the 4th line right at 25 on the southwest side.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm not going to speak much of it with respect to conflict, but the majority of the reason is, there's certainly nothing remarkable about the house. And there's certainly nothing remarkable about the barn in terms of, the stone pieces that haven't been replaced by us with concrete, unfortunately, to just keep the structure standing. So that would be my primary reason to take it both off.
Okay, why don't we talk about that? We could sort of talk about that internally since you're on the committee, Corinne.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Okay, anything else on that item? All right.
On
we'll go
Corinne's
to-
item or, okay.
No, just on the whole register. I'm thinking, shall we move on to the Globe?
I just want to ask a question about whether our two properties are on the registry, potentially. We didn't get any letters for either property.
I think,
I
Gloria,
did
you're
send
on
an
the
email to-
previous round.
I did ask Fred, but I haven't heard back from him.
I'm pretty sure
That's
you
just
were on
last
the,
week I asked him.
I think you were on the last round.
Okay.
I can double check. I don't have the list right in front of me right now, but I can double check, but I'm almost positive you were on the previous round.
Okay. So we wouldn't get a letter then if we were on the earlier list. Okay. Then it's
Yeah,
settled.
well, you would have got a letter, 4 years ago. Technically, you should have got a letter.
No, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't know how that would have got missed, but if everything had been done properly, you should have got a letter last round. So,
Okay.
we can send you one now if you want.
I'd like to just see what's in it. No opposition here. No,
Okay.
just curious. Okay.
Kristen, this is technical. We've got another person, caller
On-
01, trying to connect. I don't know if this is something to do with my line only, or do we have?
I
see
see it
that.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Fred, are you there? No. Caller 1, are you there?
I can hear them,
I hear a bit of background noise.
not clearly.
Is someone trying to join us? Can you try and speak up if you're there?
It's like a seance.
We're channeling caller 1.
Caller 1.
Caller 1, come in.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
here.
well, we'll care.
Oh,
Oh,
they spoke.
Oh. Hello.
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 hi, we can hear you. We see you've just logged into the meeting. Could you let us know who you are and whether you want to speak at the meeting?
Can
No, I
you
don't want
hear
to speak.
us?
I just want to listen.
Okay. All right. Very good. If you have any comments, let us know and we'll try and open the mic up to you. But by all means, just feel free to listen, of course. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the plaque update on the on the Globe restaurant in Rosemont. And I'm embarrassed to say I haven't done anything on that. Just because there've been other priorities in the last month or so. So I'm sorry to say that's going to have to get bumped till next agenda. I'm so sorry. New business. Now we get to the newsletter, which Cassette was very kind to draft some wording, and I think what you've come up with is great. Has everyone seen what Cassette wrote now? Has anyone not seen it?
I think it's great.
I left 2 question marks because I didn't know what link to put in there and I didn't know who they would contact. So that has
Right.
to
So
be
just sort of
filled in.
just technicalities. Yes, we can certainly get that information, make sure that that's done correctly.
I must thank Barbara. She's got her mic up. I must thank Barbara for transcribing all my horrible writing.
No problem.
So I think, in the newsletter, we get our little blurb. And I think these two blurbs need to go together. It's our little corner of the newsletter, so it all needs to go together. The section about the call for new members, and also the blurb about people submitting photographs of the calendar. So we'll ask Fred to put it all into our little section there. And I think the idea being that the little calendar blurb is going to go out in the spring newsletter, and in the hopes that people will have time they'll have the whole course of the year to take pictures in different seasons, because that's exactly what we need for a calendar. So, yeah. So I think that'll be fun. I mean, I think some people have already sent in, Cassette, was it you who was,
I sent in Ann
sent me the
Jordan's
stuff of,
cabin.
yeah. Gorgeous photographs.
Yeah, that's a
I mean,
beautiful
I'd love
photo
to see
too.
one of those photos in the calendar. Really nice. I
And
love
she
the
doesn't have
turkey.
any objections whatsoever. She's quite happy.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great. Good. It was funny because I saw Anne the day before you sent that, actually. So she was suddenly on my radar a whole bunch.
Just a
Okay,
housekeeping.
so
Just a housekeeping. Who's going to send this to Fred, the final?
Barbara, do you mind doing it? Is that
No,
okay?
I just want to make sure that one of us is doing it. Okay. Me to do it.
Please.
If you could have him fill in those question marks, or between the two of you, figure out what the question marks are, and make sure he includes both blurbs.
Okay.
Thanks, Barbara.
Barbara, I know you probably already did your edit on it, right? It's totally clean.
It looks great. It just probably more lining it up with whatever typeface they're using and what have you.
Okay.
And we're well within the correct number of words.
Oh, good. I was wondering about that. I wondered if maybe it might be a bit long, but
No.
okay, that's good to know. Okay, any other comments about the newsletter? Cassette, thank you so much for doing that. So
No
fabulous.
problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is the Mono Bicentennial signage correction needed. So I guess this is coming up because someone wrote into us and said that they thought the Mono Center Bicentennial was the next year. But I don't think so. I think it's 1832. Yeah. So I'm not sure where. Yes, Barbara?
Both of the signs as you enter Mono is 1823, and that's probably where the individual got it. So we have either a dyslexic sign painter, or we have to correct it, or we just go ahead and do it. You don't have the bicentennial celebration. But I've tried. I went into the Dufferin archives. I went through anything known to mankind. There is a reference to that there was a survey done in 1823, but that doesn't mean it was official. Anybody else got
Right.
any more information on that? But I laughed when
Barbara,
I did.
I did the same thing. I looked through all kinds of sources just to double check, and I couldn't find anything other than the survey that was 1823. And just a survey. The surveying of the town in 1823 does not signify the founding of the town. It's just the date of the survey. So I don't know where that date's coming from. Anybody else?
Do we need to change the sign?
Yeah, maybe.
If it's a year, we have lots of money.
Yeah.
Either that, or I'll just go up with a black magic marker.
A magic marker.
Like Trump, just draw right on there whatever you think
Exactly.
is right. Whatever suits you.
Is
All
someone
right,
getting
well,
to the individual that questioned or suggested, wanted to know what we were doing? And if they're that interested, they might be even interested in joining the committee.
right. Again, Barbara, do you mind getting back to them on that?
If somebody give me the name, I'd be delighted to.
Okay. I will, I'll try and find it. I did stash that email somewhere. After I knew it was on the agenda, I filed the email, but I'll see if I can find it again. Okay, Barbara, yeah, okay. I'll see if I can find it. The next item is the Heritage Garden, which is the little garden that Dorothy Jane Niels created in front of the municipal building. And the purpose of the garden was to showcase various plants that were helpful to the pioneers. And I really like that idea. However, I think it's been a bit difficult keeping it up. And especially because some of the plants are not really considered garden, like there's burdocks in there.
Yeah.
So hiring an outside gardener to look after it might be a bit difficult because they might not get the concept about enhancing what a lot of people think are weeds. Yes, Sharon.
I'm not sure I shared it with everybody, but I think I sent to you at least that I tried with the monopollinator garden to have someone come and help me with it. The work became just too much for me because, first of all that stuff is migrated. So,
Yes.
and the burdock has taken over in many ways. So it's fine to have this patch to show, and people used it for medicinal reasons and things like that. And the plaques it's in cement, but the plant that you're looking at is not the plant that's where that is anymore. So I did do it myself because I couldn't get anybody. And the lilac trees I trimmed about 4 years ago, but it's too much. And in the end, the last thing I did was I had Mike Denmore's guys just cut it all down, hoping that as things came up, I'd be able to get in there. There's rock, and it's a big job. It's a big job.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get down and dirty, that's fine, and I'd be happy to help out. But I don't. What do you see, Kirsten, in this? What would you like?
Well, I was thinking that maybe it's really, like you're saying, it's difficult for people to tend a garden like that because basically you're tending a patch of weeds, even though they're useful weeds. So that's a hard sell. So what I was wondering is maybe we should convert it into a real modern day garden with flowers and so on, just sort of an extension of the gardens that are already in front of the municipal buildings, but that we dedicate the garden to DJ.
Yeah.
I'm liking that.
And or possibly
Lovely.
Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would have to talk to Laura and see how she feels about that.
Oh, so I thought maybe you might have had a chance to talk to Laura.
I'm actually scheduled to talk to her tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I would suggest that we do not plant anything like is planted at the municipal office because that is crap. They have black mulch, which is disgusting. and
Yeah.
it's been dyed. And there's anyway.
Mhm.
So I would suggest that we could sponsor a native garden there instead of
Modern.
planting some tulips. And there are some of those things. There's some quite nice daffodils in there too.
Yeah.
But to
Or,
stick to
yeah,
native plants and shrubbery that will bring birds in and maybe move. There was a lovely little mailbox. I don't know if you've noticed it, that it had little cards in it to say what was in the garden and everything. But it's back because everything's grown up and I couldn't get it out. I couldn't move it. So,
okay.
but that would be my suggestion, is that we stick to native plants and shrubs and tidy it up, and no black mulch.
Yes. I agree with everything you said. I think native
That's
plants
okay.
would be lovely. And if we can do things that help the birds and the bees and the butterflies, that would be great. So before we do anything, let's talk to Laura, and then let's talk about what the appropriate, we all need to agree on what would be appropriate, the appropriate plants to put in there.
Yeah, I still
Something,
think we could use those little, they're about 3 inches, well, depending on how big the name of the plant is. We could mount them somewhere so that, sort of in memory of the fact that we're not going to have burdock there anymore,
yeah. Instead of a real doc, you get to just read a little sign.
Oh, I see.
No, I'm really into that, and maybe I could find somebody to help, and someone else to help too.
I'll
That
help.
would be so
I
great.
didn't even know there was such a garden.
No, well, that's
Yeah.
part of it. That's
I
part
didn't
of it.
even know that.
Yeah, I took
Yeah.
away a trailer load of crap, and nobody even noticed.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
expected somebody to say, "Oh my goodness, look at what you've done." Instead, nobody even noticed that the crap was going.
Because nobody's been to the.
No pats on the back for that one. And so,
Well,
yeah.
let's make a time you can take me for a visit. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
I'd love to see it.
And yeah, I
But
like.
you know what? When the weather warms up a little bit in a month or two, we should all go over it and look at it together and have
Sure.
Sounds
coffee
good.
and look at the garden. Yeah.
A road trip.
A road trip to
Well,
the
maybe when we're
municipal
back at the offices having our meetings, we could do it before.
Yeah, just before the
Yes.
meeting.
Well, that'd be fun. Okay. Next item is new members. Does anyone have any leads on new members?
Perhaps when the newsletter article goes out and all the people who have been interested in the process see it, there might be
Yes,
some
they'll
more interest.
be inspired to action.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's stay on that and keep chatting up your friends and neighbors. If there's an opportunity, try and remember to bring it up, because it'd be really great to get some new people involved with us. Yes, Fred? Fred wants to join.
There has been there has been one person who has made application. So you have received one application
Good.
to date.
Good.
Good.
Did it come through today? I haven't seen that.
No, it came through a while ago, February 3rd. Now,
Okay.
it was made through our online system.
Do you mind forwarding that to me? I didn't know about that.
Okay, I certainly can. It's
Thank you very
I was
much.
probably expecting a few more to come in, and would have sent them all at one time. It's the only one that's come in.
You're waiting for the tidal wave of response.
Exactly. That's my story I'm sticking to.
All right, I do have one other item I wanted to bring up on the new business section here, and that is, and maybe Sharon, you might be the one who knows about this or not. What is the status and function of the Mitchell Church, which is owned by the town? But I have no idea what the town does with it. Does anybody know? I mean, I guess maybe there was some thought at some point of it being like an eventer. I know they put out a little bit of promo material saying that it could be used as a wedding venue, but that was a number of years ago, and I've never seen anything since. Does anyone know what's happening with that church? This is the church on, on the Yellow Briar property on 5th line south of 5 Side Road. Yes,
Fred,
Fred.
you do it.
It is technically available for rent. There's some renovations planned for this year. It's the new roof, isn't it, Sharon?
Yes.
That's going on. The problem with
Right.
rental, of course, is it has no water, it has no sewage, right? So you run into concerns and issues because of those requirements. So, but
Really,
it is,
it has no water?
has no water, has no
No,
sewage.
no
Does
well?
it even have electricity? I don't think it has any electricity service either. But it hasn't been rented out because, of course, of the concerns with the roof. But that is scheduled to, those repairs are scheduled for this year. So after that, I don't know if it will become an active rental facility or not. But that was the intent when the town took that over. What was that?
Who's
Was that about 4 years ago when we took that back?
I think so. I don't remember exactly. Sorry.
Who's responsible for looking after that building?
Public Works.
Like,
Public Works takes care of it, arranges for the grass cutting and all that sort of stuff. And when it becomes a rental facility, then it will be handed over to Recreation and Culture.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay, well that's, sorry, Sharon.
it would be much like the Leslie Church. There isn't a
Yeah.
lot, it's lovely for a wedding, but then you go somewhere else to eat, drink, and use the washroom.
And I take it that, is the town comfortable with continuing to own it and maintain it, or yes?
Yes,
Okay, they
there's
want
been
to
no
do that.
question of anything happening to it. So
Okay, okay. I was reading an article in the CHO newsletter about municipalities selling off some of their heritage properties and about some of the regeneration work that's been done on, local people buying the town's heritage buildings, like train stations or schools or churches or whatever, and then bringing them back, renovating them and bringing them back to life. And one train station got turned into a brew pub, and a school got turned into some apartment units. Anyway, it just got me to thinking about what heritage buildings that this town might own and what they're planning for them, whether they're actually useful to the town or whether they would want to unload them. I don't know. Okay, but that's good to know that the church is being taken care of.
it has it. No one, if someone came forward, I'm sure the thought would be entertained if someone wanted to buy it. But at the moment, the care is there. I mean, it's not maintained to a level that I'd want my wedding there. Let's put
Right.
it that way. But I think that probably after it goes to recreation and properties within the town, I think that probably might change, I will say. Probably might. How do you like that? Yeah, those words.
Very definitive.
Yeah.
Well, it would be really nice to see that. I mean, I'm glad to hear it's getting a new roof, but it would be really nice to see the interior redone.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
my recollection is it's in pretty rough shape, and it's so pretty. It could be really fabulous with a little bit of work.
So somebody make that recommendation to council to spend the money.
Duly
Not that-
noted.
Committee. Heritage
And
Committee.
the problem with some of these, like the problem with that property is that because it has a cemetery right next to it, it's the cemetery makes it very difficult to have it repurposed into anything else, into a house or a restaurant or, anything that people might want to use it
I think
for.
that adds to it.
Well, I
Great,
agree, but a lot of people don't want to live in a house with a cemetery around them.
Oh, I don't know.
And while inactive, it's still registered and we annually file to the Bereavement Authority of Ontario for that
Right.
cemetery.
Really?
Just in case you want to go there.
Okay, does anyone have anything else before we sign off? Cassette?
In regards to the properties we spoke about previously, will you be looking for volunteers to follow up on?
Yes, absolutely. I was going to send out an email after the meeting, sometime this week to sort of talk amongst ourselves about how to best manage that, breaking up that work.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's all be in touch by email to strategize on that. I'll initiate something.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it. Yes, nobody has anything else? Okay, so our next meeting is fourth Monday of March, which is March 28th, according to the agenda. But we will all be in communication before that. Could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Corinne. Someone else? Second? Cassette, thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You
Thanks.
too, guys.
Thank you, Barbara.